Yesterday about my own positionality in this, and I thought, in response to the question, I'd like to go back again to Ngugi wa Thiong'o's book, and the title of the book is Decolonizing the Mind. And I thought, for me, the process of decolonizing, if we're not going to stick to paternalistic structures of imposing it on other people, that's why I love his answer, really resonates in my heart and spirit, is that the decolonizing process starts with ourselves. That the notion of decolonizing is a very inward-looking process. It's a very self-critical process of going inward and saying, why do I think the way that I think? Why do I hold the values that I hold? Why do I wish to pursue certain things? What has society told me as agency in terms of dance, in terms of training, in terms of what I should look like, what I should be? And I think part of that process of personal decolonizing of one's own mind and spirit is a lifetime journey of unlearning in a way, and of learning to go back, as I said yesterday, to the body, to the idea of where do I feel all this learning has placed me.
Picking up on what the previous speakers have said, I mean, the undoing of colonialism is something that is obviously at the forefront of this discussion. And personally, I grew up in a completely mixed dance environment by chance. My sister worked at the so-called Department of Coloured Affairs, and so I was a student at UCT here, as well as a student at Square Hill Primary School in Retreat. And I was the only white child in the class, but I didn't specifically notice that or know that. And my continued lived experience as a dancer was in a professional Spanish dance company across the hallway from Jazz Art, where Sapiso wasn't, because I'm much older than he was. But in that time of Alfred Henkel, where there used to be a lot of exchange of dancers for different performances across the corridor for various different performances. So that was my personal and lived experience, and continued that ethos into the business and school that I started in 1986. So really at the time, Sabiso and I had a brief discussion last night where I actually didn't know that the gathering of people of colour and white people together in a space was illegal. I didn't actually know that at the time. And
for me, it's very difficult to speak about a term that has the word that you're trying to get away from in it. Like you say, anti-gang or anti-drug, you never actually solve the problem. And so I see this more as a rehumanization than decolonization. Because speaking about decolonization within the colony makes no sense whatsoever unless you actually see the enemy and look the enemy in the face and actually name it, and then you're able to solve the problem, right? And we are dealing with a system that's global, that is white supremacy and white privilege as a result of white supremacy. And unless you actually speak to that, you won't actually solve the problem. In the process, just to explain this to you, I'm standing with my kid in the first one, and I'm singing him to sleep, and automatically the colonized information jumps to the fore, and I'm seeing rockabye baby on a tree top, right? And I'm like, what the hell? Like the cradle, the branch breaks, the cradle falls, and then you wonder why our kids have fear of heights. What kind of like sick stories are we saying, you know? And we internalize it, and this is my point, that this is internalized. That you didn't know that it was illegal for black and white people is a privilege. That you didn't have to. I knew that by the time I was 16, I was shot at by the security police, and I only had a stone in my hand to defend me. So my life depended on, fixing this crap, right? And so I'm forced into a different position because of the color of my skin. Like normally when I speak to my brother, I don't speak like this. So I code switch when I'm here so that you can understand me. So you must understand that we are doing you a favor when we speak the way that white people speak. You know, my mother also, like, there's words like hoolie haw. What the hell is that? Well, you never use it in your present because people maybe don't know what hoolie haw is, right? And even our Afrikaans, our is our own, you know. And in 2010, right here, at the Baxter, as a teacher, I was shocked for the first time I learned, I'm a qualified teacher, I left by 2010, that this language we speak is actually our ancestors' Kaap's. It's actually our language. I had no idea, and most teachers when I go to school, they have no idea. But then we never speak the truth. We only speak the levels of the truth so that you are okay with it, so that you actually pay us at the end of the month. You understand? So I couldn't give a flying whatever. I'm saying whatever I want to say, right? And I think this is like at the bottom of this is also my coming up as a dancer. People who call what I do street dance. It has language, it has names for the moves, it has history. Actually, it has history that goes back to the very first people of all people. We're standing in a circle, we're clapping our hands. The guy in the middle goes into trance, he breaks dances. The story is told as in the form of rhyme. The klicha or the healer goes and write on the rock, graffiti. This is as ancient as humanity itself. But when I dance, people associate it with street, with our culture, with our history. From America, for example. And one thing that's actually from America.
I think last week I was sitting writing down what I'm going to say, and I realized the struggle I was going through when I was writing this, the struggle is because I'm writing this in English, not in my own language. And so UCT is colonizing me a bit because I can't do this thing in a foreign language. And I have to think twice. I have to think in Zulu and then think in English. And then, no, it doesn't make sense. Let me put poetic. No, it still doesn't make sense. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, all these people, if I can speak my language, only 6 people in this can understand. And out of respect of UCT, those who invited me, I said, well, let me just do it in English. And I thought of protesting it and just doing everything in IsiZulu. And I thought, no, let me respect my crowd and everyone, my panel, everyone who's here, and speak the language they expect, which is not my language. Because according to me, the only thing that has not been colonized is my skin. Everything else is gone.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I do consider you privileged as well, Sifiso, to actually have a language. I don't. In the sense that, having taken from Africa, well, those of us in the diaspora, I can't even lay claim to a language. That was totally erased. So just to show us the complexity of it, I can't. When I go to people and they say, you go to places and they look, speak another language. I'm sorry, I don't have another one. You know, so I can't even hold claim to that. So just to show the complexity of colonization. It's a massive structure that has been around for years, and the fact that we have to relate to each other, certainly decolonization doesn't mean we can turn back the clock. and go back to what was. I don't even know what that is. And so I'm just happy that we are wrestling with each other. And so I think we have to realize with the decolonization, some things we have to give and take. We have to dance on top of each other, around each other, through each other, to try and get a place where we can all embrace and engage. But because of the diversity, because of the colonial matrix power that has affected us in so many different ways, it's going to be a lifetime journey